Hi everybody, welcome to another beautiful morning. We're talking about King David prior to him coming to the throne, the tests that he had to go through, the challenges that he faced. We thought Goliath was be a big challenge, but there were bigger challenges to follow Goliath than Goliath himself was. David had to pass the test of playing second fiddle to a useless king. He had to play the second fiddle to the point where he had to wait for his time, even though he could see that the king was messing up over and over again. And to his credit, and as a picture of beautiful, deep character, he said, I will not take the king's throne from him, even though twice now I've had the opportunity to kill the king and to assert myself to the throne that I know is rightly mine. It takes an incredible depth of character to be able to do just that, and to wait for God's perfect timing. But David has an interesting incident that is would make a great movie, a great Mills and Boone story almost. There was a guy by the name of Nabal. He was a stupid man. He was called, even by his wife, she called him foolish. He had a whole lot of sheep. Now David in those days had his 600 men who he had turned into a fantastic fighting force. And he used this fighting force to go and defend farmers from raiders, to protect the people of the town and the people from that community. And David became a bit of a celebrity figure with his little 600-man army. Anyway, at one particular time, David looked at his men, and with great overwhelming gratitude, he said, guys, you've done incredibly well. What I want you to do is, what we're going to do is we're going to have a celebration. We're going to have a party. And during this particular time, he said to his men, we have nothing to eat, so I'm going to go and find something. So he found this man, Nabal. Now, Nabal was one of the farmers, a well-to-do man. And he went to Nabal and he said, Nabal, listen, I've been protecting you guys for so long. Could you give us a few sheep and a bit of food here? Me and my men, we could at least have some kind of celebration. And Nabal scowled at him and told him to take a hike and told him to get lost. David's little contingency of men who'd been to ask him for this went back to David with the news that he'd been turned down and Nabal had been mean to them. And David freaked out. He was very unhappy. He took his best soldiers, they jumped on their horses, and they were on their way to do Nabal in. On the way there, they were suddenly confronted by a young lady who stood in the middle of the road and wouldn't get out of the road. And David, as he tried to pass her, she just kept intervening and stopping him. And she said, David, please stop and just listen to me. So David stopped and he listened. Always good to listen to someone who wants to intervene. Maybe they have a pearl of wisdom that could save you a lot of pain, which indeed she did. She said to David, David, that's my husband. Name is Nabal, and he's a foolish, foolish man. Listen, what I've done is I've brought you all the stuff that you want for your party. Take it now and go and just leave him. You don't want the blood of Nabal on your hands. David, realizing that she had come with great foresight and with great wisdom and had come under the guidance of God, just got off his horse and he thanked her for that. She then went home and she told Nabal what had happened. She said, oh, you know that guy that came down, David, who wanted the food the other day? She said, I gave him what he wanted. And Nabal literally had a heart attack. He freaked out so badly that eventually, after a couple of days, his heart packed in and he died a miserable, miserable death. Now, therein lies a lesson. I'm sure you can find it. But the lesson I wanted to pick up on here is the lesson of looking for people who might come by way of an intervention into your life. People who may come into your life at the strangest of times and give you some information that may make you evaluate new things. You see, life is a continual journey of lock on, lock off, lock on, lock off, lock on, lock off, where we lock onto a particular thing and then we journey towards that with all the energy and all the drive that we possibly can. But every now and then we have to lock off and evaluate new information before we lock on and make progress again. If we don't lock off at the point of valuable new information and say, is this information going to help me? Is this information maybe exactly what I hear? Maybe it's not what I want to hear, but it's what I need to hear. And life, you look at successful and good people, are people who have an ability to evaluate information, and say, okay, it's not quite what I wanted to hear, but maybe I need to take notice of what this person or the situation says to me. That lock on, lock off, evaluate new information, and then lock on thing could save you a lot of pain. Now, this is a great life skill lesson, I guess, that journeying through life when we get so locked onto one thing, maybe, just maybe, somebody's going to come with some new information to you. You need that information. And then when you've ascertained where that information has come from, you've worked out how relevant it is to you, feel free to lock on again. But do not lock on again until you've evaluated the new information. This is what keeps us out of trouble, people. This is what helps us get through life without damaging ourselves so much. Every now and then, you may need to do the same. Abigail was an amazing lady, great heroine of the faith. She actually ended up, after Nabal had died, she ended up marrying David. Great end to a good story. Have a fantastic day, people, and we'll see you soon. Bye.